Disruptive digital life company Simply Financial Services has experienced sales growth of more than 300% per annum in the intermediated sales channel since the beginning of COVID-19. Today I'm talking to CEO and co-founder of Simply, Ant Miller, about Simply, what they are all about, and we will then also touch on Simply's online advisor platform, the growth in online intermediary sales over the last 2 years, and just get to know more about the company. So I think, and let's start at the beginning. Maybe you can share the short story of Simply.
Cool, Rianet. I'm glad you said short because I get carried away sometimes. I'll try and do that. I mean, the short version is that I was lucky enough to be involved in financial services technology quite early. I started a business called Lightstone, which is a data analytics business, which was initially in the property sector and then extended into the automotive sector. And by the time I exited that business, we had a warranty business, we had some credit life, we were doing vehicle finance and a whole lot of vehicle insurance products. And so I had the opportunity to see how technology and data could be used to make financial services more efficient. And that was kind of from the early 2000s when things like data science were not cool. I then decided that I wanted to be kind of more principal in financial services and felt that the life insurance industry in South Africa needed some disruption, some new ideas. You know, kind of looking around, particularly in the mass market, it was clear that there was lots of funeral penetration, not a lot of life and disability. You know, in many cases, customers were being sold single products without having the option to take, you know, a mix of benefits that made more sense for them. So my partner, Simon Nicholson, who's an experienced life insurance actuary and friend, a very old friend now, and I decided to start the business together with a view to offering customers at all levels combinations of benefits that they could afford, you know, that would make sense for them. So if they were going to be spending a certain amount of money on cover, that they'd be able to get a mix of benefits that, you know, probably made sense for them. So that was how we started. We started out quite direct, advertising on social media and allowing customers to either buy direct online or via our call center. And that continued probably for our first 2 or 3 years. We started the business in mid-2016. So that continued for kind of 2 or 3 years, very focused on retail and domestic cover, so cover for domestic employees. We then extended into group life, where we realized that there was a real gap in the SME space for group life. For various reasons, it's a market that just has not been served. Partly group commission is regulated at low levels, and partly because historically there's been lots of work for advisors to serve that market. So a combination of low commission and lots of work doesn't make for happy brokers. Anyway, so that was probably 3 years ago, where we were at a point where we had retail products for both individuals and domestic workers and a pretty innovative digital group life solution. And we were making fairly good progress on a direct basis, but realized that, you know, in South Africa in particular, insurance is still very much sold rather than bought, and decided that we were going to open up our products to advisors. And we did that fairly slowly. So we started working with one large national broker to refine our product offering. And that exercise we probably invested 12 months in. And at the point that we felt like our products were now market ready and more sort of generally relevant, we extended it, you know, we started extending into other brokerages. And that was probably 12 or 15 months ago that we started more actively, you know, engaging the market, signing up new brokerages, investing in broker support teams in our business. So we've got a dedicated manager for independent intermediaries. We've got a whole lot of broker consultants around the country. And so our effort in this space has increased quite significantly over the last 12 months. So today, we are 80% broker business, and growing fast. We've been very lucky, I guess, having started with digital and then extending to brokers. It's been a lot easier than starting with brokers and extending to digital.
Yeah.
And we've been, I guess, quite lucky that COVID came along and forced some change management, in that there was a period during which the more traditional paper-based products, just were not feasible because people couldn't be face-to-face with their customers, and we were able to fill that gap and probably jump forward a year or two in our progress.
While you were talking, there were a million things that came to my mind, but mostly, it's really exciting to hear what you guys offer. I think you speak to a market that has been neglected for so long, and it's really exciting to hear that there's some inroads made into that untapped market, and that everyone has headaches about how do we reach that target market. And it seems like you, although fairly brand new company, you're really making very positive strides into that area. So well done for that. I love the comment about starting digital and going to brokers, that it was an easier way, and I 100% agree with you. I was going to ask you to give me an overview of your product offerings, but I think you gave us a nice overview of that. If there's anything else, please slip that in between. Talk to me about your online advisor platform. You mentioned that it's quite easy to use, and maybe you can touch on your typical profile of the broker that you're dealing with. Is it all over, or is there a specific type of broker or advisor that you work with? But let's touch on the online advisor platform.
Okay, cool. So sort of maybe linking the point about the product offering to the online advisor portal. I think our platform is kind of what makes our product special. So as you well know, the underlying products in life insurance are pretty simple. You die, there's a claim, the claim is paid. Or you become disabled, you meet the criteria for the claim, and the claim is paid. So everybody essentially offers the same thing. I think what makes our solution special is the technology around it, which I guess kind of ends up in the online advisor platform for advisors.
Yeah.
And the technology essentially allows brokers and customers to end up with a policy that is super flexible, and as a result meets their needs, and they only pay for what they need. So I'll give you an example. Within our product offering, I mentioned that we've got life, disability, and funeral cover. In the retail space, we've also got a very flexible extended family funeral offering, where individuals can literally just add the lives that they want to cover. And so let's say somebody who is 25, but is financially responsible for their grandparents, can take a policy that consists of life cover with the grandparents as the beneficiary, a fairly substantial disability cover because they're worried about not being able to support themselves, maybe a small funeral policy for themselves, and then extended family just for their grandparents. And they end up only paying for that. And so when they compare that versus what they'd pay to cover all of those eventualities with different providers, they end up saving quite a lot of money because they only pay for what they need. So the technology, the platform, enables the development of bespoke solutions in real time in a way that makes the process very efficient. So there's an element of product, because obviously the product needs to be kind of unitized in order that you can, construct a policy that makes sense. But it's actually the platform and the applications that make that easy for the broker. So I guess from a sales point of view, that's probably the big differentiator, is that in both our retail product and our group product, we have the ability to solve for a policy in a very flexible way. So the customer can largely get the benefits they want and not have to pay for anything they don't want. But we can also solve for a price. So if you take our group product, for example, we compete, let's say, with umbrella funds, where the umbrella funds are quite structured. You know, there's 500K of cover, and there's X% of your salary goes to savings, and the balance goes into risk. And it's kind of take it or leave it. We are very flexible. So if the customer literally just wants to pay 10 Rand a month per employee, they can do that. But if they want to get 2 times life cover, 2 times disability, and a meaningful family funeral benefit, they can do that as well. You know, so the way I talk to our broker partners about this is that any profitable business out there, you know, if the owner/manager has half a heart, they must be prepared to buy something from us for their staff, because it's going to save their staff money, and it's going to show that they care. And I suppose that kind of flexibility from a sales point of view is our big differentiator. Obviously, in addition to the fact that it's paperless, and so you don't have to do any work at home. You finish the deal in real time and it's done. We can demonstrate the compliance using kind of OTP functionality. So I guess from a sales point of view, you know, that's what makes the portal special. We also do have other functionality in the portal where brokers can log in. They can see in progress deals. They can see, you know, completed sales. They can see deals where payments have been missed. We're increasingly adding functionality that enables brokers to go and follow up with a customer and, you know, facilitate a catch-up payment. So we're trying to put more and more tools in the hands of brokers that align their interests with ours, because obviously what we want is brokers who are writing good business that customers can afford, and customers are paying their premiums and being paid when there's a claim. That's what we want. That's what brokers want. And if we can put tools in their hands, you know, we all win. And that's kind of the, I guess, the flight path that we're on with the platform.
Yo, this is so exciting. I just can't stop smiling. Where were you all these years? I think we need to really share your story. Everything you say really speaks to the personalization that we all talk about the whole time. We have to give clients more personal products, and this is exactly what you guys are doing. So well done for that. We always also have the discussion around brokers and advisors who are scared that technology will take over their role. But hearing your story, it's so great to see that you really just empower them more than anything else. Their role in your journey was also seen as critical for the growth of Simply.
Yeah, I mean, it's been, you know, they say you get the like flash of the blindingly obvious, but it took me about 4 or 5 years, unfortunately, to realize that a focus on a slick buying process, which is kind of the value proposition for direct, is actually not a good thing to be focusing on, you know, in the context of transforming this industry.
Yeah.
The reality is that there are lots of people out there who are serving clients, you know, selling life insurance, providing advice every day as their jobs from 8 until 5 or 8 until 8 or whatever. So for us to think that by creating a really simple process for someone to get a quote and buy cover, to think that that was going to lead to the whole market shifting over to a direct model was extremely naive. Mm-hmm. However, if you can give people a tool which they can use in their work all the time from 8 until 5 or 8 until 8, and you enable them to sell more policies in less time and give their customers a more flexible product, it's obvious that they'll do that. There might be some change management. There are some people who have been in the industry for a long time and they're scared of technology. But the reality is there are also lots of people who, once they try this and they realize, wow, my customer's getting a great outcome, I'm not having to do any carting around of cardboard boxes with paper in, and I'm actually making more money in less time, that's where you start seeing that kind of shift in volume. So in general, what happens with us is we'll start with a brokerage and we'll train 10 agents and we'll get decent volume from 2 or 3 who are the kind of, let's say, tech-friendly people in the organization. They will then start producing volume and start outperforming their peers, and then the peers start selling on digital as well. So that's kind of been our experience. The change management is a real challenge, and we were lucky with COVID in that it forced a critical mass of brokers to use digital and to prove that this model works well. So it hasn't been easy, but I'm absolutely convinced that the right answer for this industry is flexible digital tools for professionals to use to sell this product.
I wanted to ask you how you chose your name, but I'm sure it was simple. It was quite easy because your name really says what you do. The process is simple. It's easy, and it's not complicated. You really try and make it as easy as possible. I've often been slapped over the fingers to say that the youngsters are the guys who are more tech savvy. What do you see from an advisor and broker perspective? Is it necessarily the youngsters that comes to the front first in terms of technology?
I mean, I think there are people that have been in the industry for a long time and have been successful doing things the way they've been doing them, and they tend to be a bit more resistant to change. I mean, our thinking in Simply is we need to keep things so simple that anyone who can use a smartphone or anyone who's on WhatsApp or Facebook can use the Simply platform. You know, so to your point about where did our name come from, where does our sort of design philosophy come from, we are always thinking about stuff we can take away from our products. So what is there in there that might be distracting? You know, if there's a definition of a product that's 17 words long, is it possible to make it 11 words?
I love it.
Would an 11-year-old understand this? And so for us, success is you don't need a manual. You don't need training. You can log on and start selling. We don't do that. We obviously train people and we do the product accreditation, but we would like to have products that are so simple that my dad could actually log on and sell. And I mean, he's originally a farmer from like Durangon in the Drakensberg. So that's our target, is keeping it simple. And actually, we don't see a big concentration necessarily in younger people, but what we do see is that people who in their general lives are more comfortable with technology, they tend to adopt this way of thinking quicker.
I would like to hear a specific answer here, but can you tell from your policyholders that you do indeed reach a target audience that has not been insured before?
It's a good question. So we've got, if you think about our strategy, you know, we are looking to ensure, I mean, our mission is to secure the financial future of millions of South Africans. That's kind of what we've stated as an objective. And doing it the way people have done it in the past is not the right answer because there tends to be over penetration of funeral cover. There's actually a massive insurance gap, even though people are spending a lot of money on premium. So what we try to do is we try to focus on retail customers directly. So in the kind of earning 10 to say 30,000 Rand directly via brokers. A lot of it is worksite marketing. We are trying to be as innovative as possible around payment methods. So things like stop order, per sale, to make sure that people keep paying and are covered in the event that something happens. And then we're coming at it from the bottom as well, which is where we're targeting individuals via their employers, where the employer pays. You know, so if you think about what's the big opportunity in South Africa to really change the scope and sort of scale of cover in the country, it's to get all SME employees covered. You know, if you think about people in large corporate or government, they've got some cover. SMEs represent probably 60% of formal employment in the country. If we can find a way to get SMEs to cover their staff, we'll make a massive impact on the number of people that are covered in the country, and a lot of them will be covered for the first time. Certainly when it comes to life and disability cover, we are covering plenty of people that don't have cover. And the reality is most adult South Africans have got some form of funeral cover. They might be paying 5 times what they should, but they haven't. So for us, there are kind of 2 opportunities. One, find those people that have too much funeral cover and try and get them to take a policy that's a mix of funeral, life, and disability, where they probably get more cover for less. So that's the one opportunity. The other opportunity is obviously to find people that don't have cover ensure that they get something that makes sense from a value for money perspective. And then the third is to really target these employers and to get them to pay for cover for their staff. You know, what we find quite often is that the employer will take like a base level of cover, and then employees, if they want to, they can top that up on a retail basis. And then they end up with a great outcome because they get a mix of group, which brings down the weighted average cost of the cover, plus the little bits of retail that they specifically need for their own circumstances.
Okay. That's very exciting. And I think we can talk for a lot longer.
Yeah.
So, second last question, how many brokers and advisors have you got on board?
I'm just going to quickly look at some notes. I asked for someone to pull some data for me this morning. So we've got just over 40 brokerages signed up with us, where we've actually had at least one sale. So to give you a sense, we do have a few additional brokerages signed up, but they've never actually sold a policy. So we've got about 40 brokerages signed up and about 600 advisors in those brokerages. So you were asking what kind of brokers. A lot of it is mass market brokers that are in that kind of worksite marketing space. We also have some EB brokers who are, you know, looking at simply as a good solution for the bottom end of their customer base. We're not trying to compete with Liberty or Sanlam
100%
in the large corporate group, you know, traditional space.
Yeah.
But we're saying, guys, at the bottom end of what you do, Simply is the right answer. Don't even bother getting quotes from anyone else. Just do your DD. Make sure Simply offers great value. Look at all the other benefits that we offer, and then do the business. You know, and it'll take you 45 minutes, not 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So we do have EB brokers in there. And then to give you a sense of our growth, we're probably adding 3 or 4 new brokerages a month now, and most of them bring sort of 10 or 20 new advisors with them. So we are getting, now that the word is out, touch wood, we're getting some really good interest from the market, and you know, quite a lot of traction as far as new relationships is concerned.
Yeah, you're going to grow immensely now. Your profile is in the November edition of the FAnews, and we've got this chat, so guaranteed you're going to get a lot of interest from this. And a last word to our audience before we go.
Yeah, I mean, Rianet, firstly, thank you to you. I mean, for the work you do in, you know, kind of furthering the cause of advisors in the country. I mean, we've come to realize that this is like a super critical enabler of the industry, and without them, people wouldn't have cover. So thanks to you. And to the advisors out there, you guys, for us, are our most important route to market. And we're spending a lot of time thinking about how we can create tools for you that enable you to serve your customers better in less time and with less risk. So, you know, we look forward to working with lots more of you in the not too distant future.
Thank you for your time, and it was fabulous to chat. I hope we can meet in person soon.
I would love that, Rianet. Yes. So let's make that happen.
Cool, and all the best for Simply going forward.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Same to you and FAnews.